On today's episode, I sit down with author Britney Winn Lee. Britney is an author, nonprofit professional, and seminarian who writes to make room. She has a BA in religious studies and a master's degree in nonprofit administration, and has worked for over a decade in faith and justice-based creative community building. She is currently the grants outreach coordinator for the United Methodist Foundation and has published numerous books, including The Boy with Big, Big Feelings, Rally, Communal Prayers for Lovers of Jesus and Justice, A Goodnight Body, Finding Calm from Head to Toe. Her newest book is Sacred Curiosity, Wondering Our Way Toward Holiness. Britney lives in Louisiana with a creative husband and big-hearted son. Britney and I have known each other for years and have worked on a few projects, but we've never actually sat down for a long conversation, so this was lovely to connect. We talk about curiosity in an age when nuance seems to be lost, how we might find connection with people across agreement and disagreement, and an expansive way to approach scripture. We also riff a bit about sporty things, guilty pleasure TV, and our shared inability to write every day at 5 a.m. Thanks for spending time with the Amalgamation, and I hope you enjoy my conversation with Britney Winn Lee. My name is Bruce Reyes-Chow, and you found the Amalgamation podcast. Each episode, I chat with inspiring humans, activists, artists, academics, and adventurers as we joyfully and courageously co-conspire to make the world a more loving, compassionate, and just home for everyone. Welcome to the Amalgamation. Welcome to the podcast. We are today with Britney Winn Lee, and I feel like I've known Britney for a long time, but I don't know. Have we ever been in the same room? We have never been in the same room. We have not. It is, for those of you that listen to this, there's like this weird, progressive-y, liberal Christian-y kind of author speaker thing that we all hang out in spaces, but I'm not sure if a lot of us have ever actually met. But we've worked on a project together. I feel like I've seen your stuff, and I'm real excited that you're here today. Can you just quickly tell us, what are a few important things to know about you these days? What should we know about you?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm an author of children's books and adult books. I've been mostly in the children's space the last few years, but I've been working on a couple of adult projects more recently. I am a seminarian, slowly making my way through seminary. I work for the United Methodist Foundation for our state, and I do a lot of grant work. I do development work. I'm a Southerner. I am a mom to a soon-to-be junior high kid, middle schooler, a wife to a creative maker. I feed 2 mini Aussies and 2 gerbils at home. And, I like to do things like ride bikes and bake cookies, and I start a lot of crochet projects, and I don't finish them. And then I watch good TV. And
do you have a lot of cutoff shirts? Is that how it works, or do you just have
things all, I'm pretty much a one-trick pony. I only make squares. I only make attempted blankets. And so there's a lot of rectangles, squares, 4-sided things that are still attached to the yarn, just stuffed into closets.
I feel like that's like a future really nice big blanket. That,
what a good idea.
It's just intentional. It just becomes kind of a stained glass crocheted creation.
Wow.
And then
I really like that reframing. And I think that I will start saying that this was the plan all along.
Yeah, exactly. You're welcome. There you go. So what is a creative maker? Explain that to me.
Yeah, great question. So my husband owns an exhibit and prop making business. And so he does a lot of museum installations, aquarium installations, digital and physical things. So he's a problem solver in all the ways. And he tells people he makes what you can't buy.
Not that this is not a show about you, but I would love to talk with him.
I've got his contact. I can put you in touch.
You know where he lives.
I know a guy.
Yeah, that is fat. Because I always wonder when I hear about professions like that, it's like, how does one get there? Because that's not like something in high school you're like, you know what I really want to do? I want to make things that people can't buy. I mean, I think there may have been a niche kid that maybe he was that kid that was like, I'm doing this strange little thing in the corner, and people are like, what are you doing? Yeah. And they're like, I'm making the thing. Was he that kid?
Well, so his whole childhood was about asking for toys that he could take apart immediately and then put back together in an optimized sort of way, or make something completely different. So he's always stripped things down, figured out how they worked, and then tried to make something better out of it. So sort of. But he didn't really like school. He wanted to be a business owner and a maker. And that is exactly where he's gone.
That's awesome. And there's probably some along the way that's like, you are never going to make a living and do this. Get a real job.
That's right.
Yeah. It's like video game people. I have a relative that is in the video game industry, and for everybody who's probably forever told them, never do this. And he actually tells young people, you're not going to make a living playing video games, but if you want to get into the industry, that's what you need to do. Anyway, this is not about your spouse and partner, but
it can be a little bit.
It can be a little bit. That's fine. We love our partners and spouses. So congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
I'm really excited about this because I've worked on a project with you that was you edited. I've seen your children's stuff, and I got to, quickly read through it. This feels like I got to know you a lot more in this project. This felt like people had never read you before or didn't know anything about you. This is like a significant kind of offering to the world. What was the origin story behind this book? Tell us a little bit about how it came about.
I'm glad it reads like that, because I've never done a project like this before. I think people do, but I have spent a lot of time in the children's book spaces where we are, we're writing 20 pages of rhymes, and we're trying to figure out how to get big concepts into small verse, and filling 12 chapters was a totally different ball game, and figuring out how to construct it. And so and how much of myself to put in what, and what I wanted, what avenues I wanted to explore. So I'm glad that it comes through as a different experience, because it was a different experience. But this project, so it's called Sacred Curiosity, Wondering Our Way Toward Wholeness. It started in my counselor's office where, all good projects start. And I had just, and I talk about this in the intro, I believe, I had just sort of dropped a laundry list of existential dread and grief onto my counselor. We had just finished 5 rounds of unsuccessful fertility drugs. The drugs had given me dizziness. The dizziness had given me concussion. The concussion had given me medical bills. I had just served for almost 3 weeks on a double murder jury trial. I was pulpit pastoring at the time and had just preached my first funeral for a child. I lost a friend to sudden cancer. There was a toxic work environment. You turn on the TV, there's war. It just felt compounded. And then, of course, all of the pandemic aftermath and parenting and things like, did I fill up my car? Probably not.
And then life and all the other things that just happened.
And then life. And I guess maybe we should do the dishes because we don't have any forks clean. Things like that. And so I had just I was telling this to my counselor, and then the words rolled out of my mouth. I told her, I was coming across the bridge this week, and I thought if I just turned into the water, I wouldn't have to go to work. And that I felt like that everything I looked at was dead or dying, corrupt or corroding, and that life just felt gray. And I couldn't remember a time when it didn't feel gray. And I obviously had some depression going on and anxiety. And she was this older lady, and she kind of rubbed her hands together like a praying mantis. And she just sat there totally unruffled, like my full humanity was welcome. And she said, I've been reading a book about awe and wonder and creativity. And I wonder if that might be an accessible next step for you to find color in life again. And it kickstarted a journey. And I went on a full couple of years of musing on curiosity and seeing its power, seeing it as a means of grace, seeing it as a resurrection agent in my own life. And so this is this book is about that. And it's 12 chapters about, it talks about humility. Curiosity leads to humility. It disarms us. It slows us down. It infuses meaning. It connects us.
I love the title itself because I love the word curiosity just in general, just in terms of every part about church and faith, but also the wondering our way and the playing on the words. I mean, I think that's just a lovely invitation into it's so clear. And the way that you structure it, there is this great level of personal sharing and vulnerability that leads us into deeper kind of understanding of ourselves. And then you end with some questions and reflections at the end. I mean, it is, let me ask you, who is it for? I mean, I guess that would be the question. Who's reading this? I have some ideas, but I would love to know who do you think is picking this up, or who do you hope is picking up? But besides everybody, whenever we write books, besides everyone.
That's from everyone.
Yeah, everyone.
I have tended to write for progressive or progressive-ish Christians or ex-Christians. Yep. So I think that probably my content just generally leans that way. I think more than that, the primary, that's probably a secondary catch-all, but the primary is anyone who's just tired, who doesn't buy into this beast that we've created of worshiping certainty and camps and declaratives, and who wonders if nuance can live in this world right now, and if there's anything better we can create. And I feel like that conversation sort of goes across, hopefully, some of those lines. Right. I think it would be counterintuitive to the content of the book for it to be just written for, a certain camp. Sure. Yeah. But I'm hoping that it can ignite some bridge building and well, I mean, as I was reading through it, I mean, it's definitely, I was chuckled because I'd have to do some of the same things and stuff that I write when you talk about the Bible. You have to, I was like, I know, I have to write this disclaimer about what do I believe about the Bible, because people are going to be reading. So I was reading yours, like, we have to acknowledge, like, here's all the shit that you know about the Bible that people have been telling you. I need you to know, here's what I think as you're reading it and I'm talking about, because I'm not tossing it out. But I need you to know, here's how I'm approaching it. Because I love the way that you talk about. So tell us a little bit how you approach Scripture for those folks that are going to read that. I mean, how do you approach just Scripture in general that helps folks? I say a little bit of this in the book, but, taking like the sacred understanding and posture towards it out. I talk about how saying, I'm a Bible believing person could be comparable to saying, in complexity, I'll say that, not in sacredness, but in complexity, to saying I'm an internet believing person, because anything you want to find, you can find. And if you want the Bible to support oppression, you can find that, because it's stories, it's a collection of stories. It's a history of people and God, and it's a long history. I think that that's something that we don't always take into account when we don't approach Scripture curiously. It is a long, long history. And so I think that over the years, I have tried to encourage in myself and in others, like, just ask the next question, keep digging. I've got this, it's not behind me now, but I've got this like multi-sided crystal that a geologist friend gave me. And if you just look at one side of it, I mean, you could make some assumptions about it, where it came from, what it's saying. But if you turn it slightly, there's a whole other history to it. And so that's kind of how I interact with Scripture. Is there's just layer after layer after layer. I do think a through line of goodness is to be found. Yeah. But I sort of, I grew up in a small town where if you were going to experience something, you got to make it happen, and this idea of not letting anyone just have the monopoly on something that matters to you. And so I kind of feel like that with Scripture is, I don't want just one posture to have the monopoly. There's still more here that can be explored and shared. And discovered.
Yeah. Yeah. I just came up with a great idea. Like we should have some anthology or book of all of the ways people talk about scripture in their books, because I think there's because I think we all have like 3 or 4 paragraphs to just say,
Mhm.
here's my, after it's edited by our editors to like, okay, now make it clear, right? Here's just so you know, here's where I stand on scripture. Because
Yeah.
we all have to like, just so you know, this is what I believe about the story, and it's still
Mhm.
good, but here's how
Mhm.
I come to this. So if you can take that as a hold that belief while you walk with me through this,
Yeah,
this is where we'll go together. I mean, I think
that's
so.
right.
I was reading, I was like, I just kind of chuckled to myself, like, oh, what for the day where we don't have to do that? It won't be in our lifetime
No, no.
but all the disclaimers, because so much of the church is done has been so terrible
Yeah,
that we have to like, okay, we gotta do that.
that's right.
So when I read these books, I always like look for I mean, you know me a little bit. I'm like super into activism stuff and social
Yeah,
justice stuff. So I'm always looking for okay, so where does this get us into, like, what are we taking on? And so
yeah.
towards the end, curiosity activates us. And as we were thinking about what does it mean for us to be compelled to be in the world. And it's not really like an activism chapter, but it's like, okay, but curiosity actually doesn't say, okay, now you just get to kind of sit here and you're done, but it
Right.
actually compels you to move. Talk a little
Yeah.
bit about that. How does curiosity activate us to be out and do things and move in the world?
Yeah. I've got this painting in my living room that says, "This is not the end." And I sat and when I was writing that chapter, I sat and I just looked at it for a long time and just thought about how conversation keeps going with curiosity. This is not the end if I'm asking one more question. And I think that a lot of times when we talk about curiosity, we categorize it as either like nosiness or impulsiveness or I don't know, these things that I'm not sure are well defined by the word curiosity. But the other idea that we have is that curiosity is like lanyap, using a Louisiana term,
Mm-hmm.
is extra, is
I was like, I have no idea what that means.
it's the extra stuff.
Oh, okay, great. Wait, what's the term?
Lanyap.
Lanyap. Where does
Uh-huh.
that come from?
Uh, Cajun.
Oh, okay. There you
Yeah,
go. I've learned
Cajun
something
dialect.
today.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
There you go. You can use it.
Exactly.
So the idea that curiosity is just something that people can play with when they have privilege or time or the extra room to ask a question because they're not on guard. They're not having to fight for their lives. They're not. And I think what I wanted to explore in this book and in that chapter particularly is maybe it's not the extra, maybe it's not the fluff, maybe it's not the fruit of the privilege, but maybe it is the strategy. Maybe the long way around is sometimes the way around. Maybe curiosity is a way of love. Maybe it keeps the conversation going. Maybe it makes another story in another world possible. And, I think that we get in these spaces with all of the ways that the world is reacting today, charged. And we feel like the only way to move forward is to dig that divide deeper and try to, make sure people can like come to this side so that we can make progress, so that we can do good things. And I don't know that we get there without a bridge. And I do see curiosity as a bridge.
Well, I mean, that's a good segue. So we're recording this, what's today, as I look at my watch. Great podcasting radio here. So January 20th. So what's happening January 20th, right? I mean, Minnesota is on fire, basically. I mean, there's going to be a huge clergy call that's happening this week. I mean, there was just a killing there. There's what's happening globally. I mean, by the time this comes out, or is the United States going to own Greenland? I mean, there's just like multiple kinds of things happening. So folks might see this and like, this is great. Curiosity is lovely. Like, it's great. How does curiosity manifest itself what are the ways, like not that there's just one, but as
Yeah.
I'm kind of wandering this world right now,
Yeah.
what are the ways that it can manifest in different kinds of people, assuming that we're all kind of approaching what's happening right now differently?
Yeah.
What are ways that it happens?
I'll speak as someone who has been the recipient of curious grace. I am in the Bible Belt. I'm in northern Louisiana. My theology has changed a lot over the decades. I've always said, as I have drawn my lines over the years, I keep falling in love with people across them, and then they just disappear. But almost every time I look back on my history of what I would call like conversion moments of a bigger love, a bigger God, those moments have happened because someone who thought differently was curious enough about me to ask another question and to stick around and to have a conversation where they would say, here's kind of where I fall. I could be wrong, but here's where I am. This is where I see love going. And I want to be in relationship with you. And I think that has made all the difference in my own life and my own community building work and my own work for those who are on the margins of society. And so I would say that I've seen that at play. And, I was listening to a podcast, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and there were a couple of people in conversation who do not live interdependently with people who think sociopolitically different than them. Mm-hmm. And their suggestion to their listeners was cut those people off, burn those relationships. Don't even look at, we can't even look at people like this. And, I just remember thinking, I love this podcast. I love this content, but I live an interdependent life with people who think differently than I do. And I do think that curiosity is one of the only things that keeps those doors open for conversion and changed minds and hearts.
Yeah. I mean, there's always, the nuance of who you keep in your life is always different for everybody and how you do that and all that. And it is that, I think there's that key element of like, I could be wrong, right? I mean, how many of us are willing to add that sentence on when we're engaging with people? It's like, well, I could be wrong, but because there are certainly things I'm like, mine is always like, I could be wrong. I really hope I'm not.
I know.
I've invested a lot of energy and time and resources on it. I really hope I'm not wrong, God. I really hope. But, I could be. I mean, I don't think I am, but I could be. I mean, that's a hard, depending on who it is, right? It's like if it's a stranger versus like what's the degree of separation to you? What's your willingness to be?
That's right.
How much vulnerability and curiosity are you willing to offer to somebody?
Well, and it's not, I write about this too. It is not the tool and tactic. It's not the means of grace for everyone at every moment.
Sure, of course.
I think that there are, I liken it to birth. There are really beautiful things that can be midwifed into this world. And sometimes we have to have an emergency surgery for life to like be saved and pulled forth. And so now I think sometimes that comes with trauma.
Yes, of course.
And so,
right. Even that's complex, right? In our world these days, right?
Even that's complex. And so maybe, I think that it's, it's not for everyone at every time, but I do think there's a big lack of it in a lot of our spaces.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had the audacity of writing a book called In Defense of Kindness. So people are always like, wow, okay, sure. That's nice. But I talk about kindness as being, like, I think civil disobedience is one of the most extreme acts of kindness. And I would put this into it too, because you're saying to this person who's standing in front of you, who has all the power over you physically, that in some ways, if I were to frame, I'm wondering if there's something about you that could be different. I mean, I'm genuinely curious if there's something still within you that is shaking being shaken by
Right.
what you're doing. Like, and
Right. Absolutely.
I would still, as I go to actions and participate in things
Hmm.
today, as angry and as I see what some of our fellow humans are doing to each other, I still believe in their humanity, right? I mean, if
Right.
we give that, and so that curiosity, that kind, I would rather start there and be pushed towards something different than to
Right.
start right over on the other side of that and I'd have to be convinced that folks are deserving of
Yeah.
kindness and curiosity, right? I mean that anyway.
Yeah.
So
You
that's
know,
probably why I like this book so much. Like, yes.
I wrote a memoir at the end of my 20s, just sort of on the trajectory of my deconstruction and reconstruction and reconstruction and reconstruction process. It was framed around how I feel like I have been every character of the Good Samaritan story. Everybody wants to be the Samaritan, right? Everybody. Right. And I think we read it, and that is where we just naturally place ourselves as the protagonist. But I end the book as the wounded roadside person. And just that framework of needing someone that you have decided is your other, and posturing myself in any given time to think I could not need you. There's no world where I could ever need you, but instead going, I am curious about how we could need each other. I am curious about who we could become. I'm curious about, the idea of the scripture of being more than conquerors, like not super conquerors, but something where we both can get across without having to destroy each other. And
yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Did you see the sidebar? Did you see the Lord's Prayer that got put out by the Department of Defense?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're going to have to go look that up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the Secretary Pete Hegseth reciting the Lord's Prayer on an aircraft carrier. And so they decided to, it's laughable, but it's so dangerous. That's basically our politics right now.
Yeah.
Where he's saying the Lord's Prayer and it's now over this montage of all this military imagery. It is, I do these talks about resurrection and the season of cruelty, and I start with this Lord's Prayer. So it's like, Our Father, there's like jets going by. I mean, it's almost like a Saturday Night Live commercial.
No, yeah.
That's exactly what it, like if they had to do one, but it's real.
It's real.
I mean that Christian nationalism conquering Jesus thing is
right.
Not even like we're not even pretending anymore.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I think that is in the curiosity framework. My next question when I see things like that is, this has gotten traction because it has played on fears.
Oh, yeah.
What are those fears? In curiously asking the next question, what are those fears? How did they fester? What was the messaging? What's the story being told? What's the data communicating to us? And how do we break through some of that?
Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons I appreciate folks who have adjacency to that community. I grew up in a really progressive mainline Presbyterian world, and I have zero. Every time I watch things like this and read folks who are kind of helping folks to kind of move through some of this, I'm just like, man, I that's not part of a world that I ever grew up with or had any kind of real connection to, and it just is like it grieves me because I have so many friends who have been hurt, but also I'm just like I don't like I never had a male pastor growing up.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Like my whole, I'm like, oh, men can be pastors. I like, okay. I mean, I never really thought that, but I mean, I only had female pastors growing up, which was like, I didn't think was odd until I left there. I was like, oh, that's not okay.
That's not the framework everywhere.
It's like, okay. I mean, I knew I wasn't that naive to not, but it was just like, oh, okay. So and to see this all come rushing back at this level,
right,
is like, what is some version of Christianity grabbed onto that has found such traction, as you say. I mean, it's just,
Right.
I mean, we're all trying to figure it out. I know. And some folks, I think, are just, it's become combat, which
Right.
I get. And I think we need some of those folks to kind of be on that placement. That's
Yeah.
not where I am. Yeah, I don't know. I just wish we could figure it out. Anyway, I'm curious. Let's talk about writing a little bit.
Yeah, please.
So we share a publisher.
We do.
Yeah. And so, Broadleaf, tell me about your writing. I ask every author, what's your writing discipline? Do you have one? Are you really disciplined? Not very disciplined? So what's your writing discipline, or how did you do it?
Yeah, I love this question. I have followed a lot of writers over the years who have said things that made me feel like it's the only way. You know, waking up at 5 has to happen. Do you remember that was a big big trend of the 5 a.m. Writers Club?
I have yet to have anybody recently say they do that. But yes.
But I was working. I had a 18-month-old at home. I was getting no sleep, and this was years ago. I was waking up at 5 because that's when the hashtag 5 a.m. Writers
You're
Club
supposed
was
to get
happening.
up at 5 in the morning and read. That's the quiet time.
That's right. Or, you know, the idea of cranking out 3 pages a day or a paragraph a day. And that, I think I'm at the point in my life and in my age where I'm like, my writing has to serve my life.
Yeah.
And that's why I started writing in the first place. You know, when people ask, why do you write? My answer is always, I can't not write. This is how I process the world. This is how I unpack what's inside. Yeah. I don't ever know what I'm thinking until I write it, usually. So like writing's going to happen regardless, but it has to happen in a way that is actually serving my life. So what that looks like, it tends to look like for me is like a day a week when I'm working on a project. Now, a day of week to sit down and crank out that shitty first draft, right? And then maybe a half day the next day to refine it a little bit. But the meat of the writing happens in my notes app as I am in carpool, as I am taking the dogs outside. And I have the idea of a sentence or a thought that's not, as I'm on the bike, you know, and I have to stop and type it out real quick. And then once I do get to my computer, I've got all these pieces that I can sort of form and work with.
So do you schedule time? There's the joke running that I have on my calendar. It says get shit done. It's actually blocked out. Like it's, and I have an assistant and my they're like, what do you do during that time? I don't know. I just get shit done, but it's blocked out. Like if I don't, I'll just start wandering and doing other stuff. I mean, this is kind of like in the weeds. Like again, no one has said they do the 5 in the morning thing anymore. Like just because I think that's whatever. So it's one thing, like I'm just like you. I write, I have a newsletter, I just put stuff out. People either love it or hate it. And then you get to these things where you're being paid and you have a deadline and people are like, okay, we're putting resources and energy behind it. We need, so how do you, and I'll tell you a story in a minute about another person, but how do you like get it done? Like what's the in the weeds? How do you as an author get it done?
So when I'm in deadline, and it was, you know, it was different with Kids Book, and because it's just a different process, or has been for me. But for this project, specifically for Sacred Curiosity, I knew this needed to happen in 6 months. So I backtracked. How do I incrementally do this to where, so I knew I needed to write, you know, 2 chapters a month. And so I knew I needed to write this many pages every Friday. And when I first started writing vocationally about 15 years ago, I had a 40-hour job. And about a little less than 10 years ago, I made the move to go to 30 hours so that I could have a day to write. And now it's a day to write and do seminary work. But Fridays are, when I'm in deadline especially, Fridays are the day that I sit down, make myself sit down and at least
do you work at home or do you go somewhere else?
So this project was all done at home because I work remotely. Our office is in Baton Rouge, 4 hours away. So I work remotely. I recently got an office, which is where I go to do work if I need my weekly work, but if I need some quiet for writing, I'll go there as well. But everything, all of this was written at home.
Yeah. I cannot work at home, and I have an office here. I'm sitting in my office now, and it's lovely, but I cannot.
Yeah.
I use WeWork now, and I go every day, and it's like, I love it. Like it is. Yeah. But I'm one of those that, and everybody hears this every time because I talk about it, but I will take weeks off and write. The only things I'm doing this for January are interviews for podcasts and doing things. Like I have a deadline at the end of this month that I had like 4 chapters to finish and then a devotional to write, and I'm writing. So my publisher's probably listening to this, but like writing the whole thing, this whole devotional just got finished yesterday. Yeah. Right? But and I'm one of those that I don't know what the metaphor is, but like I just got it. It takes me a few days to get cranking, and then I get going. I've tried to do the 1 day a week and I just, for some reason, my brain, I could crank out a blog post like that. May be generational, right? I could do that.
Yeah.
For some reason, my long form needs like 3 days before
gear up, and then
before it can actually start getting beyond feeling like it's just a bunch of blog posts put together. Like I gotta be like, okay. So that's mine. Is like I love
that, and it's always inspiring to me, or fascinating at the very least, when people can do that and that's their rhythm. Because if I took off 4 days to write, and whatever I cranked out, I would come back to it the next week and go, what the hell was I trying to say? This doesn't make any sense. And so I work better in the put the trash down, refine it right after. Put the trash down, refine it. Yeah. Because the long form stuff, the multi-day stuff, I without fail, every time I will come back and go, what was I talking about?
What was I drinking? What time was I writing this?
I totally went off the rails.
Yeah, I'll go away for a week. We have a friend who is very generous with like one of their little cabins, and I'll just go away for a week or two. And the thing about it for me is, and I learned this about my preaching and other projects, is if I could just put it away, I don't think about it.
Yeah.
The rest of the time. Like I'm not, like I do the same thing with notes, and I have all these, and I do my voice recording and things. Then I don't think about having to produce anything. I'm like, oh, I know in 2 weeks, I'm just going to look at all this stuff, and I hope it makes sense, but and that's how it helps me, just to not have it sit with me all the time. Yeah. And then I just can go and just unload all at once and things. But no, fascinated by how everybody gets it. I do think it's funny though, that almost everybody says, well, I don't do the 5 a.m. thing because
I feel like coming of social media age during the Twitter.
Yeah. And I have colleagues that definitely did that. I will not name who they are, but that definitely were the 5 a.m. people, and we're like, I'm ready at 5 a.m. I'm like, oh, whatever.
I tried. I couldn't hang.
Anyway, so I love this. Thank you so much for talking about the writing thing. Yeah, so let's jump to the last 3 things I talk with everybody about. The first being the nerdy and the niche. Something that people would not guess about you. Again, we love to hear what's beyond the writing and all the other things. What are some other things that give you meaning or give you joy? Like what's something nerdy or niche about you?
Yeah. So the first thing that came to mind when you said, and I'll go with the niche piece, I think mostly, is all my life and adulthood, I've been in spaces of theology and art and creativity and community and, advocacy and these types of things. I've never been in sporty spaces.
Okay.
I've never been in athletic spaces, but the thing that, I could use in a 2 truths and a lie icebreaker is that in high school, in order to get out of PE, and that was my main objective, I took on the role of football trainer, doing all the medical stuff for the football team, and then baseball statistician. And so I am like thoroughly saturated with football, baseball, history, and no athletic ability at all. But
I'm sure you're not the only person. Like you find your place. So do you follow college or pro, or what's your
we'll watch college here, and then a couple of, now that I'm working in Baton Rouge periodically. Last year we went to women's basketball game, which was phenomenal.
I'm sure right now that's really fun. Yeah,
it was great.
My youngest kid just moved up to University of Oregon for grad school, and we're a big soccer family. Baseball, nice. we were baseball, and then the Oakland A's, anyway, so Major League Baseball is dead to me. But we're big soccer, but never football. So she's now at this huge like college football school, which is like this world that we do not understand at all. Like, what is happening? When people talk about church being culty, I'm like, okay, calm down.
No, take a look at sports.
College sports. I mean,
different world.
And University of Oregon probably isn't even as bad as like some of the schools in the South and the Southeast that are like, some of my friends out there are like, what is happening? Like, what is going on with you all? I'm glad it brings you joy, people. I'm glad it brings you joy.
It's a different world.
It is a different world. Do you play fantasy baseball or football? Okay.
No.
So you might like that though, because that is all about the numbers, because it almost takes the, I play fantasy baseball, which a lot of people don't do because it's a daily grind. Mm-hmm. And I have two players that are always like, I'm going to have them on my team because I love them as people, whether they should be on a fantasy team or not. It's all never win. Yeah. But, then it's all numbers. And you're just tracking numbers, and you're just like, okay, I'm trying to pick up holds and saves, and
and never had to break a sweat.
Never had to. Yeah, never had to. Great. Okay, so what are you watching? What are you reading? What are you listening to these days?
So I'm in between seminary classes right now. It cranks back up, and as you know, it's just nonstop reading. So our break, I got a month break in between fall and spring semester. I read a book, just a fiction book. I try to use any time off that I can to read fiction.
Good for you. Good God.
Let my brain breathe a little bit.
Seriously.
And I just finished reading a fiction book called The Authenticity Project.
Oh.
It was lovely. It was about connection and vulnerability, and one of those stories that has like 8 different stories happening all at once, and then they sort of come together. So just read that. I am going back and listening. So music wise, I'm on a Taylor Swift kick. I'm there, but podcast wise, I'm going back and listening to episodes of Ear Hustle.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I'm in conversation right now with a ministry up here that is collecting stories from inside the local jails and helping people write their own work. And so I'm listening to some of that. And then we just finished watching Stranger Things, which I was a fan of the ending. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not everyone was, but I was.
I'm trying to think. We didn't really get into. I've watched them, but we didn't rush. Yeah, we haven't watched the lesson. It is an interesting thing, so my children are 28, 24, and 22. So we were just with them this past week talking about what were their formative TV shows and books and all that kind of thing. And it's just a wild. So they were already gone for Stranger Things. So we did watch it. And for some reason, for a long time, they didn't like Millie Bobby Brown. I don't know why. I don't know why they decided she wasn't cool, but then they like, no, I don't know. All right. So anything else? Do you have a brain candy show that you like? Okay, I'm gonna admit this for the world to know. Is there anything?
Do
you have any? Do you watch Love Island?
Oh, like guilty pleasures.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good. What did I just finish watching? I binge Love is Blind.
Oh, yeah, that's right up there.
Yeah.
That one is. I love the concept. It just gives me, those shows give me so much anxiety. I just can't.
Oh, it does. And I can't stop watching.
It is so fascinating to me. So, like our youngest kid, right? She's a PhD program, so but
Yeah.
she comes home and she's like watching Love is Blind, like UK, and I'm like,
Yes.
she's like, don't. It's like, and
It's
then all of a
it's
sudden, like 2 hours later, I'm on the couch. So like, do we like
can't
her?
look
Do we?
away.
Are we like, oh my gosh, how could what? And then like, oh no, they're bringing somebody else in. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I have the default nature that I fight constantly is an all or nothing kind of person. And so when I read fiction books, I have to prepare. That's what I'm going to be doing for the next week because I can't put it down. When I start trash TV,
it's all you're watching the whole season. You got to know.
it's all I can't. Just any waking moment, which is why I can't start many things, is because I won't get anything done. I'll just watch Love is
Are you the
Blind.
one where it's like Netflix keeps shaming you? It was like, are you
Yes,
still watching
of course
this?
I am, Bruce. Of course.
I love that thing. It was like, are you kidding me? Are you still
kidding
watching
me?
this?
Have you changed out your laundry in 15 days?
Do you need to go to the bathroom?
That's
Because
right.
it feels like you should get up.
That's right. Have you considered hydration?
Yeah, we just finished watching this really interesting show on HBO called The Swarm.
Oh, yeah?
And it's one of these that it's a slow burn sci-fi
Mhm.
where, and it's one of those you have to explain without giving away, but it's basically the ocean decides that what humanity has done to it, it's had enough.
Okay, I'm going to write this down because we do love sci-fi.
Yeah, and it's not a horror movie. It's not like but it's just this like slow burn. It's certainly science fiction, drama, but it's really an interesting concept. It was based off a book,
Yeah.
but it was like, huh,
We tend
interesting.
to gravitate towards sort of apocalyptic, end of the world
Yeah.
type stuff. And there was one point where we were watching 3 different series that I realized were apocalyptic. And I just looked at my husband and I was like, are we okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Are we working through something?
What's happening? Well, the interesting thing about this one is it's like set in modern day.
Yeah.
So you have to, the hard part is like believing that this could happen like right now.
Yeah.
And this stuff is going on. And so you're right with the people who are struggling with belief. I mean, it's really fat, but we watched, well, we have to be like, okay, it's 11:30. Are we doing one more? Are we doing, no, we can't do
Are
one
we
more.
doing it?
Can't do
That's
one more.
right. We'll be useless tomorrow.
Let's say 2 for tomorrow. Let's say 2 for tomorrow. It's always a 2 for
Yes. Well, I've
Anyway.
written it down. We're going to have to look into that.
Yeah, it's definitely, it got me. The other thing that we just watched is the documentary with the Mariska Hargitay. Yeah. It was really good. She does the thing
I've
about
not seen that either,
her
but-
mother, and I can never remember, Jane, the pinup superstar from her, it's her
Yeah.
mother. Anyway,
Yeah.
really well done, very sweet, but also just really, really good. Anyway, so that's what we
Yeah. Oh, I love those questions.
Yeah. So are you going to do an audiobook?
So I think an audiobook has been done. I'm not recording it.
Yes, me either. I was curious because I was going to, if you got to record yours, I was going to be salty, but that's okay.
No. I did get to listen to a voice.
Did you audition at least?
I didn't.
Oh,
Now, I can tell you, I recorded the audiobook for one of my children's books, and the amount of times that we had to go back and re-record in that session because of my Southern
oh, really?
drawl. And they were like, yeah, because they were like, you can't say it like that. Like, you have to pronounce hill like hill, not heel. Okay.
You can't. But I always, and I've told this story before, but I recorded almost an entire one for one book, and then the publisher, it's not their fault at all, but the people who they used, they're like, no, we're going to get a professional. Like, it was, those of you who didn't see my look, but yes, I was like offended. And then, so broadly, if I actually asked, like, so we can do it, and they're like, yes, but they're very clear with me early on.
Yeah.
Most of our authors don't read their own books.
Yes.
But you can audition.
Did you?
Yeah. I still didn't get it.
Well, listen, they probably, I didn't even know that there was an audition.
Oh, yeah, they probably heard you and like, oh yeah,
they're probably like,
yeah, it just won't be good.
not.
Good for her ego. We'll just like, I didn't even get it. But the thing is, I was always felt like I would have a good voice for doing this. I think it's like, I would love to do, clearly this is not going to be my second career. It will be voiceovers because, yeah. But it's the same person who did both books, which I find interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm
that
hoping
is fun.
Yeah, I'm hoping to talk with him because, I mean, these are your stories.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. So have you heard the person read your stories yet?
I haven't heard them read any of the book. I've just heard there was like an example of them reading something else that was sent to me. So great voice, great reader.
Right.
But I've not heard my stories come from them, which is, I think that'll be fascinating.
Yeah, it's interesting. The one thing I did find is listening to my own book in somebody's voice, other voice, actually I could listen to it.
Yeah.
And I thought that my kids are like, you're listening to your own book, Dad? I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, leave me alone.
Yeah. So
you go watch Love is Blind. I'll listen to my own book.
I'm going to listen to my own book. I'm like, that's really good. Who wrote that?
Yeah, that's right.
I was able to like listen to it differently because it wasn't me, but I was like, where did he put intonation? And so I'm fascinated. Yeah. So he's read 2 of them now. I just want to know, like, what does he think? Because
yeah.
Like, does he think I'm a weirdo? Like, what's the, like, who's this guy?
I've not had a conversation with the reader. And for my kids' books, I've connected digitally with my illustrator for years now, but we have never met in person. You've never met? We have never met in person. And
wild.
We're working on our 5th project together. And he lives in New York and I'm in Louisiana, and our paths have never crossed. I'm like,
wow.
we have birthed these huge.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. Since it's my podcast, the next children's book you have, get in touch with us and we'll have you both on.
Oh, how fun would that be?
Yeah. Because I could just sit here and cause problems.
Yeah.
So what was the hardest part about working with? No.
Yeah, that's right. Spill the tea. Do it. Oh, that would be so fun.
Yeah. Just let us know. Yeah. We'll do that. That'll be awesome. Yeah. That'll be awesome. All right. Last segment. If you could just leave folks with a rant, you can feel free to rant or a comfort or an encouragement.
Yeah, I think I want to circle back to this idea of curiosity as vital and crucial for right now and for moving forward and for healing and for wholeness. And I hope that people will leave the book, will leave this podcast, will leave any conversation about curiosity, holding curiosity as an indispensable tool for transformation rather than like a limited luxury or trait, and that we could recognize that this worship of certainty and camps and outrage declarations have gotten us to a place that's pretty gnarly and a place that our nervous systems were never really made to hold. And so I would say that when all else fails, ask another question.
Great. Thank you. All right, folks, make sure you pick up. When is this coming out? Do you know when it's being launched?
It is next month. February 2026.
February 2026. It should be out close to the publishing of the podcast. So make sure you pick it up. Save your curiosity. Wondering Our Way Through Wholeness. Britney Winn Lee. How can folks stay in touch with you and get connected to you?
I'm on everything except for X as Britney Winn Lee, at Britney Winn Lee, and Instagram, Facebook. That's my website and blog as well.
Great.
And I've got a newsletter.
Isn't it lovely having a name that's really unique?
Isn't it?
I mean, it's good and bad, right? You can always be found, but also you have all the handles like Bruce Reyes-Chow. Nobody wants that. I mean,
no, it's there for you. It's for the
there.
taking.
It's just everywhere. And sometimes I'll sign up for something and I'm like, it's already taken. I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, I signed up for this like 10 years ago. My bad.
Yeah. Though, it's so long though, because that I find that when people, if I go to a bookstore and they're like, do you want to, let's look up your email. And I can tell they are so ready to stop typing and I'm still going. I'm like, another in, an L.
I know you have to think of like a jingle to do it. Double N.
That's right. Make it fun for everyone.
Exactly. All right. Well, make sure you all pick that up when it is out. Pre-order it or get it out. Thank you all. Thank you, Britney, for joining us. It's lovely to chat with you. Yeah.
Me.
All right, you all. You know what to do. Wherever you're listening to this, make sure you rate and subscribe. Share it with everybody. And again, so glad you could join us on the Amalgamation podcast. This podcast was hosted by Bruce Reyes-Chow, produced by Emmy Hicks, edited by Desiree McFarland, with music by Marissa Magdal-Laron, and inspired by ancestors past and generations to come. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And be sure to subscribe to the Amalgamation newsletter at reyes-chow.com. Until next time, thanks for listening.